Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFC Bournemouth Analysis. And this is an episode of Opposition View, as you may have been able to tell. I'm joined by Glen Fox, who is a Newcastle United supporter. Hello, Glen.
Hi, Simon. It's good to be here.
Yep, so obviously we're playing this Saturday. So how long have you been a Newcastle fan for?
I did it in two parts. So I started out as a Newcastle fan as a kid. I really liked football, and then I moved down south. I know this isn't a life story, but
no, it's fine, it's fine.
Moved down south and became a rugby, well, not a rugby fan, but I had to play rugby. It's frowned upon to like football in the south, in some parts, in Somerset, in Wibeliscombe.
Right, okay.
And then when I went to uni, Newcastle were doing well. That was the 5th place to finish. So I was like, oh. And then started watching them again, took an interest, and I've been a fan since 2010 again.
You went to a few games last season, right? In your championship.
Not so many.
You went to three or so.
3?
I think something like that.
It's impressive by my standards.
But my next question is, what do you think of AFC Bournemouth? Because obviously this channel is focused around them.
It is. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know about them at all before they started coming into Premier League, but I think they've been quite impressive since coming up. Let's be honest. Like, no one expected you to stay up 3 seasons. You're struggling now. For now, but it's still impressive that you're here. Yeah.
So obviously you've just been promoted, but you're quite different to a newly promoted side because you've got the huge fan base, the infrastructure, the stadium. Are you looking forward to the game this weekend?
Yes. Like it's tough. If you asked me before the Burnley game, I would have been like, definitely. Yeah. That game has made me think twice. Like, we did not look good. Newcastle's very much a hot and cold team. We're never consistent, so you don't really know what to expect. Like, they're at home, that's a nice advantage. Like, the Geordies do get them riled up, but
you've only lost one home game this season, and that was to Spurs,
who
obviously won every away game I think this season, so it's no great disgrace. You've won pretty much all your home games apart from that, haven't you? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what would you say? Obviously the Burnley result wasn't great, but what would you say are your biggest threats and your biggest strengths? I think I can name one. Yeah,
Richie. I know you're going to hate me saying that. No,
he's a good player.
He's our best player. He's probably one of our biggest goal threats as well.
Don't look. He's got quiz questions.
He's one of our biggest goal threats as well. And he's got this lethal left foot that I like to see. I think Shelby should also be put there. He's not been as good, I think, as he was before he got red carded, like that first game. Yeah,
that was a strange decision to stand by.
It's a shame, but like he was amazing the first half of that game. I know he'd worked really hard over the summer. Yeah. So it's a shame, but he's still got potential in him to score. Yeah. And I don't know, I'm struggling to see any. I
mean, obviously Benitez, I would say, is your biggest advantage. I think with that squad you've got, if you had Steve McLaren as boss, or even Alan Pardew, I think you'd be in the relegation zone right now. Yeah. Whereas Benitez has got you mid-table, and I think with the team you've got, really you look at it, and there aren't many like strikers in particular. I think that's obviously an issue. I think in the January transfer market, I can see you getting a striker, but who knows? Yeah. So anyway, my next question is, what are your biggest weaknesses? We kind of touched upon it a little bit, but...
So yeah, I know this one. This is easy. So we haven't really got a dedicated left back. So if you attack down the right flank, you're probably going to expose us a bit.
Injured,
that's not good. Our midfield pairing is potentially strong, but right now you've got. I don't know why Hayden didn't start last week. Marino's injured, and no one knows how bad it is.
He might be back this
week.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a back thing, so I don't know. So we know Shelby will be there. I don't rate Diami at all. I think he's rubbish. So if he's put there, I'm not going to be very happy about that. And then, as you know, our front line's not good. Like, Perez isn't the best number 10. I would prefer to have him as like a backup to a real number 10, but he's our first choice at the moment because we haven't got anyone else to field there at all.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of your squad is just filling in first positions.
And while Hoslu is good at the all-round play, he's not going to put them in the back of the net consistently.
No, he's missed a few chances, and I know your fans are getting on his back. So anyway, even with all that said, Glenn, and your problems up front, what do you think the score will be this Saturday?
So, if I had to pick one score, and I'm going to have to be slightly biased.
Obviously you are biased. I genuinely don't mind.
I'm going to say 2-1 to Newcastle. But I also think, there's a strong part of me that thinks it is going to end up as a draw.
I can see us, to be honest, narrowly losing this game, because you're the type of team we don't like to play. You're very well set up defensively. Every time I've seen you on TV, you've not got thrashed a single time this season. Whereas newly promoted sides, I mean, look at Huddersfield, got thrashed by Huddersfield. They got thrashed by Spurs at home, and then Brighton. I mean, they haven't been thrashed, but they're a lot more defensive than Huddersfield. So I think you're the type of team we struggle with, and obviously with Matt Ritchie's deliveries, we don't defend set pieces too well. So yeah, I can see a narrow. I can see it being a frustrating narrow defeat where it feels like we should have got a point, but we just fall short.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyway, that's the main questions of the show, and now it's the best part of the show. It's the Super 7 quiz, Glenn, where you get to be tested on Newcastle and Bournemouth trivia. Don't worry, it's always related to Newcastle, but also Bournemouth. So, yeah, so see how you do, Glenn. So the first question is, how many times have Newcastle played Bournemouth competitively? In all time.
All time. I'm going to go out on a limb here to say 4 times.
Incorrect. It's actually 8 times.
How come?
Sorry, yeah, but it's actually been 4 times in the league, 4 times in the cups. So anyway, my next question actually runs into that, and it says, Bournemouth have played Newcastle 4 times in the league, but how many of those were Newcastle wins? So how many of the 4 games, league fixtures, were wins for Newcastle?
Is it just 1?
Is that your answer?
Yes.
No, it's 2. You've won twice, Glenn. But don't worry, the questions now become slightly more specific and easier to get. So of course, we played you in our first ever Premier League season, and you scored against us home and away. But who scored those 2 goals?
Perez.
Is that your answer for both goals?
Look, I'm good. Wait, so I thought you said they.
Yeah, but who scored both goals? You scored 2 goals.
So Perez scored 2 goals. Scored the 2
correct,
goals.
Glenn. That is correct. He scored home and away.
Tries to trick me.
Obviously, you won away 1-0 and you lost at home 3-1. So the next question leads into that defeat. Well, I mean, it was a good game. So anyway, that 3-1 defeat, who was the unfortunate Newcastle player to score an own goal?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. It was a Josh King kind of cross, and he deflected it into his net. But who was that player?
I feel like it was one of our centre backs. Who did we have last season?
I'm not going to give you a clue because I know the person who was on this.
Was it Steve Taylor?
It is Steve Taylor, correct!
Yes! Oh my god,
2 out of 4, you're doing well now, you're on a roll.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's a true or false question. Matt Ritchie had not played for the Scotland national team before he moved to Newcastle. True or false?
That's a good question. False.
Correct, he had played for Scotland while he was a Bournemouth player. So that's 3 in a row now, Glenn. You've already beaten the last person on Opposition View, whose name I can't really mention, but you can watch that episode by clicking this link that'll be here. Right, anyway, so the 6th question is, you won't get this one. Which Newcastle player scored twice against Bournemouth in our FA Cup replay back in 1992?
92. So obviously I'm inclined to say a certain player, but
don't say the one I think you're going to say, because I don't even think he wasn't playing for you that time. He's still playing for
Can I get one hint? Can I get the position?
I don't know his position, but his surname is 1 syllable.
1 syllable.
It's not hard, isn't it? I don't know this. I mean, I've vaguely heard of this player, but I don't think you would have got him.
Rob Lee?
No, it's a good guess. It's Andy Hunt. Have you heard of him?
No.
Maybe he wasn't a big Newcastle player, but he scored 2 goals and you won on penalties.
Okay.
I think. And finally, after we beat you 3-1 2 seasons ago, how many more games was manager Steve McClaren in charge for?
That is absolutely unbelievable. You can't bring up the 3-1 loss to Bournemouth and Steve McClaren in the same question.
Well, I have, and it's the final question.
I feel like you're trying to help me.
Are you going to give me the answer? How many more games was he in charge for after we beat you 3-1?
I know that was the turning point. That was the moment where everyone was like, right, he's out.
There was a lot of angry Geordies in that stadium.
I don't know, Can you give me the date of the fixture?
I think it was the 3rd or 4th of March.
Was it?
Something like that.
I'm going to say no more games.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
It is correct. No more games. He was sacked on the Friday, and then I think you immediately got Benitez in, and then you played. I think it was Leicester away, and you narrowly lost. But obviously they went on to win the title that year. So anyway, you did very well there, Glenn. You got 4 out of 7, which is by far the most of any fan. We've only had 2 fans, including you. But still, you beat the last one by 1.5 points.
All that matters.
So here's the leaderboard. Put it on there. So yeah, there you go. It's above him.
I'm actually really proud of that performance.
That's very good. I thought you were going to get 3. Well, I mean, the thing is, there's very little history between the 2 clubs. Like Man City, there was actually more history.
On that one result out of the 8.
I mean, obviously after this season we'll have a bit more to talk about. Yes. But obviously we might not play each other after this season. We will have to see. So anyway, thanks so much for being on AFCB Analysis, Glenn.
It's been a pleasure, Simon.
And please do subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and also my own preview of the Newcastle game will be going live tomorrow evening. So if you want to know my thoughts, and why wouldn't you, that will be live tomorrow evening as well. So from me and Glenn, it's up the cherries in all departments. Bye.
How are you, the lads?
Yeah, all right.